Hi, I'm Dr. Carly Tepke from Texas Law. In this video, we will talk about your resume as part of your application to the LL.M program. You can see here an example of a one-page standard US legal resume. If you are a legal academic and have lots of publications and teaching experience, etc., you can use the multiple page CV style instead of the one-page US legal style resume. However, for most of our LL.M applicants, they come from either their LLB or from working in a law firm. So therefore, the one-page US legal resume style should be used. Now, the content of your resume depends on the purpose of your application. Are you applying for a job, to a school, or for a scholarship? So depending on what you are applying for, you will need to highlight different things within your resume because you only have one page to make sure that the admissions committee or the scholarship committee or the hiring committee can get the most about you. If you are applying for an LL.M program with an energy concentration, you will want to highlight your experience that focus on energy, for example, or highlight the tasks from certain experience that exemplify those things that the LL.M program is looking for. You should really have multiple resumes ready depending on what you are applying for. Make sure that you do check the requirements of the application, as some might have certain specifications they want you to follow. Now, the typical content of a resume, of course, you have to start with your name and your contact information at the top. Your name should be in a larger font. You want to include your education, your GPA, any degrees you have, your expected graduation if you haven't graduated yet, any activities you did while in school, any honors, and then of course, any work or volunteer experience that you had or have done that is relevant. So what I mean by relevant is that when I was in school, I was working part-time at a restaurant, but I would not include that restaurant experience on my legal resume because I'm focused on the relevant activities about the law. You also want to include any student clubs or organizations, law journals, any leadership positions you might have had, any publications you have, and also professional training, affiliations, licensures, or certificates. So the big suggestion is to follow that US resume style when applying to law school in the US. It should be one page. It should be in reverse chronological order, meaning the newest activities come first and work backwards. There should be no picture of yourself or anything about your family status. And you want to add a list of accomplishments or different tasks that you performed for each position. So what do I mean by highlighting your accomplishments for each position? You want to include the major things that you've done at that job. If you have written over 100 different types of legal memorandum for a certain employer, you do not need to list the 100 of the different types because that would just be overwhelming. Again, this will go back to the relevant portion that we talked about. Focus on what was relevant to what you are applying to. If you are applying to that energy LL.M, you want to focus on any memorandum that might have to do with the energy field. Maybe you're focusing on mergers and acquisitions or on energy financing in certain memos. Focus on those. And then you can say among others. So you're still including your experience, but you're keeping your focus in that one-page document. Regarding format, if the program or scholarship you're applying to has certain requirements listed for how they want your resume, follow those instructions. I'm giving you sample guidelines to help you turn your resume into the US legal style resume, but always follow the instructions for whatever you are applying to. Make sure that your font is readable. This means at least 10-point size font or bigger. Anything smaller will make it difficult for the admissions committee, and you never want anything to be difficult for the admissions committee. If you do use bold, underline, or italics in your resume, make sure it is purposeful. So make sure it's highlighting certain things or used in the format. You should have margins all around your document. That means the text should not go all the way to the edge. These margins should be between 0.8 and 1 inches all around. Again, that one page, it can be really difficult because I know a lot of different legal cultures use multiple page resumes, but you are applying to a US law school, so make sure that you're following this format. You want to be very professional. This is your professional resume. Use professional fonts like Times New Roman, not something like Comic Sans that is more childish. Don't use any colorful fonts, don't add any images or graphics, and write formally. Don't use slang, for example. And you want to regularly update your resume with the most recent activities. So if you're starting your application process in the spring, getting your documents together, by the time you apply in the winter, make sure that you've updated your resume and that you include on your resume the date that it was updated. You can see that in the example that I posted on the slide before. You want that admissions committee to know that they are reading your most recent accomplishments, and proofread carefully in both your content and the format. Typos stand out, especially on a one-page document. Make sure that you have all of your periods, that everything is lined up, that everything looks very crisp, very professional. Now, one great thing about the Texas Law LLM program is that we have an amazing career services office with a dedicated LLM career counselor who helps our students to strengthen their resumes and strengthen their cover letters, work through mock interviews, help them with job fairs, and so much more to help make their job search for after the LLM even more productive. So they can help with all of these things, and we're so proud to be able to offer our students that opportunity. Now, I hope that you are able to put these resume tips to good practice in your application.